Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Doctor Squad, and today we're here with actually part 2 of What If Issei has Chaos Emeralds. I don't want to waste any of you guys' time. Let's just roll the intro. Issei would tell Reyes that she can come out now, that he knows that she's actually hiding behind the trees. Reyes will come out from the trees and she will actually tell Issei how talented he really was to noticing that she was actually there. Issei told Reyes that pretty much what was she doing here, that Reyes actually told Issei that she wants to talk to him. Issei would say that he doesn't want to talk to actually Reyes at all, so he would just proceed to leave. Reyes would actually ask if she can talk to him tomorrow, as Issei would sigh and he would say like fine. We fast forward all the way to the next day, as to where Issei and Ingvald was actually walking to class, to where Kiba would actually stop them and asking if Issei can come to the Orchard club room that Reyes would like to talk to him. Issei would tell Ingvald to go ahead, but Ingvald would actually refuse. This was the first time that they were actually asking for Issei, so she was going to follow along. Now, once actually Kiba brought the two of them to the orc room, Reyes was surprised to see Ingvald that was actually here, but at the same time it was actually good. And she will tell the two of them to sit down. Now, Issei will actually say to Reyes what does she want to talk about. And Reyes will actually say to Issei if he would like to join her barrage, but Issei straight up refused. He's saying that he has no interest in joining Reyes' barrage, that pretty much he just wants to live his normal life. But Reyes would actually tell Issei how she can actually just tell Issei, or if Issei joins actually her, she can tell actually him why the fallen angels were after him. But Issei said that he doesn't really care, that the fallen angels are already taken care of. Now, seeing that Reyes know that Issei was not going to join her, she decided to ask Ingvald, as Ingvald said the same thing what Issei said. She refused. She just wants to live a normal life. She doesn't want to get involved in Reyes' actually problems, of course. But Reyes would actually ask Ingvald, who really is she? And why is actually a devil actually living with a human? But Ingvald would actually say that Issei saved her life back then when she was young, and that she is the descendant of actually of not really Lucifer, of actually like Leviathan, of course. And this would actually surprise Reyes that Ingvald Leviathan is actually the descendant of actually the previous, or actually kind of like the old Leviathan. So with this, Issei and Ingvald will actually just leave. And 1 month will actually pass. Issei will actually kind of get to know them a little bit. Especially like the student council will actually try the same thing with Issei, but Issei did the same with Reyes. End up actually rejecting Sona's offer. And to be honest, he started to grow close to them a little. Not as a friendly base, but still as a person that he knows them. He would say hello, hi in the middle of the hallway, asking how they were actually doing and things like that. But Issei actually kind of heard that Reyes got herself a new actually barrage member, as her name was Arthea Argento. Now, Issei didn't really care at all, of course, but one day, while Issei was actually walking actually to the coach research club, he kind of actually felt tree presence that he never felt. So once they actually entered there, they were actually to see Rise the Phoenix and Gracia. As Rise the Phoenix, once he locked eyes to Ingvald, he was immediately in love with her, as he can sense that she was a devil. So he started to approach actually her, saying to Reyes that this is actually her new actually like pawn piece, how beautiful she really was, and asked what was her name. Ingvald would say that her name was Ingvald Leviathan, and this surprised Ryza, and even Gracia there. as she was actually the descendant of actually the original Leviathan. Ryza asked Ingvild for a hand in marriage, that she was going to marry him, of course, that they would become the most powerful people in the whole underworld, of course, including with actually his actually other wife, Rhys. But Ingvald will grab Ryza's wrist before using chaos energy and actually started to shock him with lightning. Ryza's Parage wasted no time and they launched their magic towards Ingvald, but they swapped places, as Ryza's Parage members was the one who got hit with their own attack. Once actually they got up, Greyfair will actually kind of stop them and she will actually tell Ingvald to let go of Ryza. She would just do just that, but Ryza was preparing to hit her before issei grabbed Ryza by the back of his neck before slamming him to the ground. Now, issei told Ryza that if he lays his hands on actually her again, that he will kill him. Ryza would get up before he would growl at issei, and he would tell Rhys that she has 10 days to the raiding game, of course, before he would teleport to the underworld. Now, once actually they left, Rhys begged issei to join her Parage, that issei is actually powerful enough to pretty much help her escape from this actually marriage, but issei straight up refused. He would say that he's not interested in getting involved in Rhys' problems. So, issei and Ingvild would actually just leave. And with this, the 10 days would pass for Rhys, as, to be honest, she didn't stand a chance with Ryza. Even if Arcia was there, which she is, of course, using Twilight Healing, there was nothing that they can do. They got incinerated, they got destroyed by Ryza's Parage. So, issei and Ingvild was watching this on the Devil Tube with also Draga there, and they actually kind of expected this to happen. So, issei decided to take himself a bath, and once he was actually finished, he actually got out and he actually kind of hear crying coming from his room. Now, issei would immediately go there and ask what was the problem, and once he saw that, truly shocked him. He would see it of a person trying to kidnap Ingvald, so issei wasted no time grabbing the person by the face before slamming him towards the wall. The person will fall unconscious, and once he wakes up, he was already tied up. issei and Ingvild and Draga started to interrogate the man. Eventually he actually did a crack, and he actually started to explain how Ryza Phoenix sent him to kidnap Ingvald. Now, issei and the three of them were actually kind of really angry and frustrated, so they decided to go and pay the fried chicken a visit. Now, they would teleport themselves to the underworld, and they would actually see the gods that was actually like God and actually the Phoenix household. And they actually asked why actually were they here. But issei blew actually the gods away, saying that they're here for Ryza. And this went on for quite a while. issei would actually see actually the gods and he would just blow them away. Eventually he would make it to the final room before he would blast the door down, showing his actually crazy red eyes and pretty much of a crazy aura. He would say to Ryza Phoenix to come out and to pretty much face him now. Ryza will order the gods to kidnap issei, but issei would incinerate the gods on the spot. Xerxes asked what was the meaning of this, and issei explained to Xerxes how Ryza actually sent actually some devils to try to kidnap Ingvald Leviathan. Everybody there was actually kind of shocked. Ingvald Leviathan was actually here. The descendant of the old Leviathan was here. Now, Xerxes only thought that this actually matter could only be settled could only be actually kind of not really settled with actually over 1v1 battle. So he will actually make actually an arena to where Ryza and issei will fight. Ryza will say that if he wins, that he will actually collect Ingvild as his wife, but also actually the other girl Draga as also his other wife. But issei will say that since he's already here, that if he wins, then Rhys is free from her engagement. So with this, the fight will actually commence. Issei wasted no time. He went into his Dark Chaos mode, the Dark Sonic that you guys see in the thumbnail now. So yeah, and he grabbed Razor by the face the same way he did in the court and in the orc room before slamming him towards the ground. Now, Issei would not stop there before he was dragged Razor's body into the ground dirt before he was slammed him towards actually of a chest piece pillar, of course, as he will throw Razor on the ground before lifting the chest piece pillar, and he will hit him over and over again, as if it was the most brutal battle Razor has ever been through. Issei was actually destroying Razor bit by bit. Razor couldn't keep up with Issei. Every time he tried to strike or even actually use magic, Issei will absorb it, and he will turn it to chaos energy. And trust me, chaos energy was something that you don't want to mess with. It got to the point where Issei was standing above Razor. He had his hands out, ready to kill him, of course. But out of nowhere, Razor would jump in between Razor and Issei, saying to Issei that he won this and to not kill her brother. Issei was surprised that Razor, with all her effort, was actually just like standing between her, like him, and actually Razor. So Issei will move his hand towards Razor. Razor was preparing to either get herself hit or blasted, but what she didn't expect was actually Issei petting her head. Issei would say to Razor how much of a good sister she is. Before actually the match will actually commence, Issei being the winner. Now, we will actually time skip to where Issei was actually at home. As the two, as Issei and Ingvild and Drago was going down for breakfast, they will see Riz that was actually there, in the kitchen, making food. They asked what was Riz doing here, and Riz actually said that she was going to live here from now on. This truly confused them, of course. So once they actually went to the orc room, Cersei approached Issei, and he actually thanked Issei for Issei freeing her sister. So he can actually ask Issei if Riz can actually live with actually him. He was afraid that if actually he left Riz alone, probably one of the Phoenix members might do something to her. Now Issei knows that was actually full of actually crap, because the Phoenix was not going to do anything to Riz, since actually, like, number one, you are Lucifer. Who wants to mess with Lucifer's actually little sister? Number two is because actually you just want Issei to actually get involved in this whole politics of the devil's thing. So yeah. So Issei didn't really care, but at the same time, he didn't really like Riz being around so much. But at the same time, he likes her being around, but at the same time, she was annoying. There was a time where actually, like Issei was sleeping with actually, like the two of his girls, where Riz wanted to sneak into bed with him. Issei was annoyed by that, to where actually she did cook good food, good Japanese food, and like, trust me, Issei adored Riz cooking. Like, it was actually like, mwah, good. But at the same time, Riz was actually getting on Issei's nerve. So heck, he didn't really bother too much about it, of course. Now we go on to the Kokobel arc, to where actually the two exorcists will actually go and actually meet with Riz, talk to them about actually the whole actually like Kokobel, how the whole Holy Sword things. Of course, Issei is not really here, so he doesn't have no business. Now, we'll fast forward all the way to the end of actually school, to where Issei and Ingvild was actually walking actually home. They actually decided to take the path where they actually wanted to see their parents, of course, but they wanted to see, the two exorcists standing at their parents' house. And what surprised them was actually just like Issei's parents letting them in. This truly confused the two of them, so they decided to go in. Issei actually asked who was these two people, and actually Issei's mother actually told Issei how rude he actually really was. That this was actually Irina, Issei's childhood best friend. As guys, I'm going to be leaving the what if actually here. If you guys actually really like this, like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. My name is Ultra Anime, and I'm actually logging out. Peace.